Hello and welcome to What Women Want Today podcast, season 3, the Soul Sister series, where we will tackle tough topics straight from our heart to yours. I'm Terry Kellums, your host and coach for women who struggle to find meaning and fulfillment in midlife.
I am Amanda Keeper. I am your new regular contributor. I come straight from the Midwest, Rockford, Illinois. I'm a public speaking teacher and leadership development professor. I'm also a coach and clinical mental health counselor. I am so thrilled to be here, and let's get started.
Let's do it. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. Hello, my friend Amanda. You know what I was thinking of? Today is the first time we have been behind the mic, just the two of us, because we've been doing a lot of interviewing guests lately.
Yes. And I was going to tell you, I'm so excited to be back with just you.
I know. How fun. I am, however, a little disappointed because you know what? Today is Wednesday as we record this. I believe you were supposed to be at my house tomorrow.
I was.
Yeah. And we had to reschedule our visit together. So
But what I love about us is I know we will postpone and we will be back together soon.
That is true. August.
Yes.
I will see you in August.
Yes.
Excited about that. So Amanda, I have a question for you today.
Okay.
Do you remember what age you were when you started journaling?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I think I was probably in 6th or 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that I journaled about, I still struggle with today.
Seriously, do you go back and read those journals?
So not purposely,
yeah.
but when I'm cleaning and I stumble upon them, it's like I can't focus anymore because I have to stop everything I'm doing, sit down with my journal and start reading everything.
Yeah. I have come across them, like in a box and just kind of open it up and thumb through it. I don't intentionally go looking for something to go and read.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, wow, I've grown.
Mm-hmm.
Like my thoughts and the things that I, put down in some of those earlier journals. I think to myself, wow, I don't even think like that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was actually reading something that I wrote to somebody I really care about out loud to Noah, my son, and my husband last night. And it was from 2009. And my husband said, it was so interesting to hear you talk in that letter. He said, because you sound like yourself, you repeat yourself a lot, and you do that to me too. And yeah. And he goes, and I could tell how passionate you were and the things that you desired and that you wanted, I feel like we have in our relationship. So it made me feel really proud.
Oh, that's so cool. I used to journal like years ago, and a lot of it was angst, like lots of things going wrong in my life and things I was really unhappy about. And I always kind of held myself back because I was afraid that the person that I was writing it about was going to read it.
Yes, I wonder that too. I started a new group for my counseling practice. It's a group for women, and I'm actually giving all of them a new journal tonight when they arrive. And I'll share. I know this is one of the things that we're going to do today, Terry. We're going to share some of the journals that we've had over the years. But I think I'll get everybody's attention if I don't mind kicking it off. The one that I'm going to give all of my clients tonight for participating in this women's group is a journal called Fuck It. a journal to unfuck your life, exhale the bullshit, and love who you are.
I love that. Is that from Amazon?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to put a link in the show notes for that. I actually really love that. I love that a lot.
Yes.
It's interesting. Today we're gonna go over quite a few things. I love that you're giving that to your group. And actually, what I was gonna say before I forget, because I'm just like in that brain space right now where I'm very like brain foggy. But
sure.
When I was talking about like writing, wondering and worrying about if someone's going to read it, I said this on another podcast episode. It's probably been a year ago, where I said, your journal is your private thoughts. If someone chooses to read those private thoughts, they're going to have to deal with the consequences of what they read. So encourage people to write as though no one's going to read it, because it is a very powerful tool, and we should be able to write without worrying about what people are going to do with that information, right? So it should be a safe spot to write down your feelings.
Yeah. I agree. And then maybe we should put like a disclaimer in all of our journals, like a sticky note that says, if you choose to read this, just know that these are my private thoughts. My intention is not for anybody to read this, and read at your own risk.
Exactly. Warning, warning.
Yeah.
So today we're going to cover the benefits of journaling. We're going to talk about tips to get started. So if you're somebody who has never journaled before, we're going to give you a couple of tips on how you can get started. We're going to talk about using prompts, and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special gift for our listeners today. And then we're going to talk about some different styles of journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda, I love that you brought up kind of like a guided journal.
Yes.
Because I have this one. It's called Today with Intention, a guided journal for reflection, mindfulness, and self-care. So if you're not good at just like free flow writing, you might consider, our listeners might consider opening up a journal like this. Target has some really cool ones. Amazon has some great ones. Here's another really good one. It's called Dear Universe. I think this one is special because it's short. So if you're not someone who has a ton of time to like sit down and dedicate to, 30 minutes of journaling every day, say you've still got small children or whatever you've got going on. This one is just pretty quick. It's like things I want to manifest, affirmations for today, daily gratitude for today, and like an action plan. So this one's really cool. I really love this one a lot. But I do love the guided journals. They're great.
Yes, I do too. And after you jump right in and kind of talk about the benefits of journaling, I'll share with you why I think privacy is so important with one of the prompts out of the Fuck It journal.
Oh, yay. Okay. All right. So some benefits of journaling. Tell me which ones of these. Well, I wrote down probably 5 of them, but we'll see if you have some more to add to it. So the first one is reduces stress and anxiety. So writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process them and reduce the impact on your mental health. I believe that one probably really resonates with you, with what you do.
It really does. There's a book called Your Body Keeps the Score, and it's how stress and anxiety live in our body. And one way from the research that I've done is that we change our emotions is through purging our emotions. And so we need to first of all be able to acknowledge what our emotions are, be able to claim them, to name them, and then be able to change our state after we reckon with them. So I love that first one that you have.
Yeah, I think, just as, someone who went into this, like just very much just needing a safe place to kind of like throw up all over the place and not necessarily feel like I was being a burden to someone. Because I'm pretty sure when I very first started, I didn't feel comfortable sharing some of those things that were going on. So I imagine like just being able to write them on paper and then walk away from them, come back to them later and seeing if I still felt the same way was probably very beneficial at the time. Number 2 on my list is that it boosts creativity. So journaling can help you tap into your creative side by allowing you to explore new ideas and perspectives.
I could not agree more. Like all of the examples that I have with you today are very creative. And I think you'll see that when I show the samples, and they tap into a side that I would never have on my own had I not had those prompts, or even the color of a journal, or even the way that the author uses their own like creativity to think about how we can be more creative. And I know you know the author Sark, but I'm going to share one of the examples. Yeah.
Oh, I love Sark. Yeah. Okay. Number 3, it improves self-awareness. Now, this is probably like number 1. If you do nothing else in your journal, I wish people would do this one because self-awareness, it helps you reflect on your experiences and your emotions, and it helps you gain a better understanding of yourself and your behaviors.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
Self-awareness, and we've talked about getting to know yourself so that you can grow and learn. This is a big one for me.
Yeah. And when I talk with clients, I always say that one of my jobs as a therapist is to help you move things out of your blind quadrant into your open quadrant. So one of the things that journaling will help you do is be able to see yourself. It's like you're holding a mirror up to yourself with your words and your feelings.
Yeah. It's like if you can't be honest in your journal, then you really do have a lot of blind spots, don't you?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I think of some of the angry things that I've said. Like when your
Mhm.
handwriting, when you like look back at your journal and your handwriting is just atrocious because you're so pissed off. Like,
Yeah.
it's just angry writing. We'll call it angry writing. Okay, where are we? Enhances problem solving skills. So
Mhm.
writing about your problems can help you identify solutions and help you make better decisions.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how you style, how you journal, you could even do like a pros and cons list, or you could do cost rewards, like a benefits analysis. Your prompts, some of the ones that I'll share today, you can look at consequences of not solving the problem. So yeah, I agree with that as well.
All right. And my last one, it promotes gratitude. And this would probably be really high up there with the self awareness. This is how I kind of got back to journaling after being away from it for several years, was by doing a 30 days of gratitude every November.
Mhm.
And I've had people join me for doing it, kind of on a schedule type thing. But it says journaling the things that you are grateful for can help you cultivate a more positive outlook on life. And I find
Yes.
that so true.
I do too. And it reminds me of the podcast we did with Melissa Segru, who actually went through a very traumatic diagnosis with breast cancer. And she went back straight to her gratitude journal because she knew that was one of the things that would help her withstand the stress that she was going to have to endure during that time.
Yeah. I feel like there is always something that you can find to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm. So I think we should have some fun with this. I think that was a great list. So why don't we go back and forth and kind of share some of our journals and some of the prompts, and then we can kind of just free associate as if we were writing things down, but we'll talk it out.
Okay. This will be challenging.
Okay. So the one that I was just talking about, the fuck it journal, you really
Mhm.
have to make sure that nobody's reading it, because one of first things that it asks you is to list things that you don't give a shit about right now.
Wow. I feel like this is so trendy to say, um, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about,
Yeah.
what people say, what people think, I'm
Yeah.
in this time of life where, I don't
Uh,
give a crap about any of that anymore. And oh gosh, what don't I give a crap about? I think, I'm getting closer to that point where I think I don't care as much. Like how you feel about me, not you in general, but how you feel about me is your business,
mhm,
and how I feel about myself is my own business. Now, when
mhm,
you and I were in Cancun a couple months ago,
mhm.
having some of our deep conversations, I said to you, I like myself.
Yes.
I like who I am. And
Yes.
that might not be something that someone else likes, in a person, but I like me. So you don't have to like me
Yes.
because I like me.
Yes. That is so powerful. Yeah. My husband and I talk about that all the time. If you legitimately can look in the mirror and you like who you are and what you stand for and your values and how you treat people, and at the end of the day, you feel like you're living in your integrity and somebody still doesn't like you, then I agree with you. Like, it's not my job to make everybody in the world like me. And as a 2 on the Enneagram, that's been a really hard lesson for me because my personality is naturally inclined to want everybody to like me.
Oh yeah, you're bigger on relationships. So yeah,
Yes.
totally. I get
Yeah.
it. So what
Yeah.
about you? Turn that back around on you.
Let's see. So a list of things I don't give a shit about. Oh, this is going to be really controversial, but I don't give a shit about yard work. And I don't give a shit about cleaning. Like, I know that sounds so spoiled and everything, but I work really, really hard. So I do 3 different careers, and I've gotten to the point where I would rather just use some of my hard-earned money and pay to have somebody who really enjoys that work and do that work. And it's hard for me because like my husband will walk in the house and he notices everything. If it's out of order, if it's not, like his quote is, you take a pan out, you put a pan back in, you turn a light on, you turn a light off, like everything has a place and it goes back.
This is why
And
me
I
and
just
Gary
don't.
love each other, by the way.
Yes, 100%. And I just don't see those things. Like, he will come home and he used to, before we decided to hire it out because we were arguing about it so much, but he would come home and like do the landscaping and mow the grass and like do all these things around the yard. And I wouldn't even notice it because it's not like my value. I'm
Yeah.
I'm like rushing into the house to like engage in conversation with one of my family members because I've missed them so much all day. I don't even notice.
Right. Back to the relationship thing.
Back to the relationship.
You're so focused on the relationship, you could care less about the world falling down around you.
Yeah.
And, you know, you and my husband are so much alike. And we, you know, we've talked about this before because Brian could care less. And I was talking to someone about it one day and I was like, it is very important to me. It's a value of mine. However, I can appreciate the fact that it's not a value of his. And sometimes it works to my advantage because if I am really busy with my own personal pursuits and I don't want to make sure all the dishes are clean and floors are swept and mopped and everything's dusted, but he doesn't care because he doesn't notice.
Yeah.
You know,
that's me too. Like if Gary left the kitchen a mess for a day or two and was like, let's just do it when we get home, I'd be like, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you? What's one of your journals?
Okay. So let's see. So Brian and I were playing this game the other day, and it's a card game that you pull out these cards and you ask each other questions.
I love that. I love those.
And it was funny because he didn't want to, let's see, I'm trying to remember how it went. He was having a hard time coming up with words. And I said, well, okay, let's turn this whole thing around. I said, you know, let's do it. You talk about me and I'll talk about you, because he didn't want to talk about himself.
Okay.
And then, you know, then I was like, at the end of it, I was like, I don't like this either, because I feel like I'm prompting you for compliments and I'm not want to fish for compliments. But so I'm one steps out to me from this list I have here. But what are your proudest accomplishments and what can you learn from them?
Yeah, that's a really good one. For me, it is my getting back into counseling. I stepped away from counseling for a long time because Noah was young and I didn't want to work 2 jobs and miss out on any baseball games or anything that he had. I have one biological child. I do have 2 stepkids, but they were older when I met them. So I feel like I got one shot at like the baseball games and like all the being there for your child. And I just wouldn't give up that time. So I stepped away from counseling. I'm so proud of myself for going back to it because I feel like I'm in my gift when I'm counseling. And it was scary because I didn't know if I was still going to be effective. I didn't know if, you know, you step away from something for 7 years and you don't know if you lose your skill set. And I'm just really glad that I had a good mentor that encouraged me to go back. And my husband asked me last night, because we were doing one of these journal prompt things. We were actually, the 3 of us, my son, my husband, and I were doing the whole journal last night, the Fuck It journal. And he said, if you won $1 billion tonight, would you go to work tomorrow? I said, I would absolutely go to my counseling job. Yes.
Well, I think that says a lot.
Yeah. I would not bail on my clients. Like I am so connected and there for them and invested in helping them on their journey. And my integrity would not let me walk away from that. And I love it. So yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to say, and I don't know that I've ever talked about this on the podcast before, but I dropped out of high school and had a baby at a very young age. And, you know, I could have been one of those statistics. I could have been one of those stories, right? But I wasn't, because I had a drive in me. I don't know where it came from. I still don't know where it comes from. But I went on to be a leader in a Fortune 500 company. And I was good at it.
Yeah, you were good at it. I talked to your people that worked for you and you were very good at it, and you still are good at training and coaching. And I think that's a huge thing to be proud of. You know, a lot of people use that narrative of I dropped out of high school as an excuse, you know, and you just did not. Like in fact, you've always said, part of why I don't like talking about things that have been hard for me on the podcast is because I don't want anyone ever feeling sorry for me. Exactly. And I've coached you into like, it's not about feeling sorry for you. It's about like normalizing, like, look, me too. I've been through some of these experiences as well. And here we are persevering and resilient and having courage, and we keep going.
Yeah. So. You know, what's interesting about it is when I was at like my happiest, like just in my zone and everything, is when I met Brian.
Mm-hmm.
He used to say to me, "Stop smiling so much. Why are you so happy all day?" Just joking, why are you
Yeah.
so happy? And I like legitimately, like you said, with your clients, like I did not ever mind getting up and going to work every day. Hour and a
Mm-hmm.
half commute in the morning in traffic. And I was energized by going there and the people. It was
Yeah.
all about the people.
Yeah. You felt alive.
I did. I did. I felt so alive. And I felt like I was, the industry I was in, I can't say is like, the best, most wonderful industry in the whole world, but helping people realize their full potential made me feel good about what I did every day. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
it was
100%.
awesome.
All right. So one of my other ones is from Brene Brown. And so sometimes you'll buy a book and it comes with a journal or a workbook.
Oh, yeah.
So
Is this
there's
Atlas of the Heart?
this is
Oh,
Rising Strong.
Rising Strong. Okay.
This is Rising Strong, The Reckoning, The Rumble, and The Revolution. And so you read through her book, and then there's questions that kind of go with the content. And so she just has all kinds of prompts. One of my favorites is what she calls shitty first draft.
Oh, I love that when she says that.
Yes. So she believes that sometimes we make our own misery by telling ourselves a shitty first draft about what happened.
Yeah.
So she says, we can't get to a brave new ending if we start from an inauthentic place. So she asks us to think about, what is the story that I'm making up or telling myself about this situation that could or could not be true? And what assumptions am I making that are probably not true because I've gone to a negative place in my mind? And one of the things that she also talks about is, in healthy relationships, you always assume positive intentions.
I love that too. Yeah.
So, for example, a shitty first draft. So say, I get home and Gary isn't home when he said that he was going to be home at 6 o'clock. Well, a shitty first draft could be like, well, he just doesn't care about me, or he doesn't prioritize his family. Or I could be like, wow, I wonder what's going on. He must have ran into somebody, or, I'm sure there's something going on, that it's not anything personal. Right.
Right.
Um,
Here's another story that I used to tell myself about a friend I had. I had this friend, and I'm sure everybody's had this friendship where you feel like you're the one putting in all the effort.
mhm.
And then you just sort of start telling yourself, because of little things that happen, like it took them a long time to respond to a text message. You
Sure.
tried to call them twice and they haven't returned your call. You went by them in the break room and you felt like they were cool towards you.
Mhm.
And then they canceled your happy hour on Friday night.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, when you reschedule, unbeknownst to you, she shows up with another woman that she knows you don't care for. And now
Mhm.
your shitty first draft is, she doesn't care about me anymore. Doesn't care
Yeah.
about me. She doesn't care about our friendship. She's trying to blow me off, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Here's a question I absolutely love. I don't remember where I first heard it. I'm not going to take credit for it. It's not my original one. But
Mhm.
here's a great question to ask yourself when you do have a shitty first draft. What else could it mean?
Right.
What
What are
else?
the other possibilities?
Yeah. Could it
Yeah.
mean that she's got something going on in her personal life that she's just not willing to share yet?
Mhm. Mhm.
What
Mhm.
else could it mean if Gary wasn't home when you got there?
Right. Right.
So I
Like,
love that
oh,
question.
yeah. I do too. And it goes into more depth, and it's like, when I tell myself a shitty first draft, the first thing I want to do, what is my thinking? What are my emotions? What are my beliefs? So it really has
Love
you
it.
reflecting on what's happening in your body physiologically. Is your heart beating fast? Is this like a reaction to something else that's happened to you in your life that you're projecting on? Like,
Mm,
where else could this be coming from?
mm.
What alternative ex help me, Terry, explanations are they? I'm having that brain today too. So that's a good one. Shitty first draft, Rising Strong from Brene Brown.
Love it. Love it. We'll make sure to put all these in the show notes.
Yeah. How about you? What's next?
Okay. So, I am gonna say, I think one of my most favorite journaling is something that was probably born out of my childhood. So I've talked on the podcast about my imaginary friend that I had when I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a huge dreamer, like a huge daydreamer.
Mm-hmm.
I am one who says I don't get bored because I can always be entertained by my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So dream journaling, like just
Yes.
making up stories for your own life of like the best possible outcomes of things.
Yes.
I went through this exercise with one of my clients once, and it was like, imagine the perfect day. I love doing this type of journaling. And you
Mhm.
can do it, today, and then you can do it a month from now, and it could be totally different, but your perfect day. You
Mhm.
get up, you have coffee. Today, you were having coffee, you were sitting outside on your deck. I could hear
Mhm.
birds chirping in the background, but then you start adding in flavor to it. It's like I could smell, I could taste, I could
Yeah.
feel the sunshine on me, I could feel a
Mhm.
cool breeze going across my skin. Like you just really start enveloping and invoking all the senses.
Yes.
It's like it's so real. The colors of the flowers in a nearby pot on the table, like you
Mhm.
just like make so much detail that now this is like almost really, really happening in your world. Like you can see
Yes.
this,
Yes.
and you just do as much as you want of your day, and you just continue this process in your dream journal.
Mhm.
And when you need some inspiration, you can open up your dream journal and read about some of your dream days. On
I
those
love
days when you feel
that.
like I have nothing to look forward to today, like
Yeah.
these shitty things have been happening. This relationship with this person is,
Mhm.
not going well right now, or my job sucks, or whatever the case may be. And you
Mhm.
can open up that journal and read about your perfect day when your mind is in a really good place. And it kind of
Yes.
takes you instantly back there.
No, I love that. And it already like makes me think about, well, what would my perfect day be? Where would I
Yeah.
be? And so I encourage our listeners to do that one. I love it.
Yeah. I love
Okay, another one is the Morning Magic 5-minute journal. And this one I was gifted from my stepdaughter, Paxton.
Is that
And
that one book, the habit book, or is that a totally different?
no, this is by Tanya Peterson.
Oh, okay.
It's called Inspiring Prompts to Set Intentions and Live with Gratitude All Day Long.
I love it.
So, this one really talks about lots of different things, but so the vision, what would make today great?
Mm-hmm.
What's my intention? Today I will. What am I
Mm-hmm.
grateful for? I love this one. Release. What do I need to let go of?
Oh, I love that one too.
What do I need to let go of to have a great day? And make space. So on my mind, in my heart, on my shoulders, lighting my way. So like what do I need to make space for in my life today?
I love that.
Yeah. So like Terry, we made space for our friendship today. And
Hmm.
you and I, we have this habit of like we'll go a couple weeks without talking, and then we'll finally get one of our 25-30 minute conversations. And then after we hang up, we feel like so invigorated and alive
Hmm.
and innovative and creative.
For
And
sure.
sometimes we just need to write down what we need to make space for so that we can stay in a good state of mind in a good place.
I love that. But even if you don't have an Amanda in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you can dedicate a whole journal. So I have this beautiful journal, and I wish you could feel it because I'm very
Look.
much a senses person, and it's really soft, and it's
Mm-hmm.
got this really beautiful turquoise tree on it, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like part of the experience of journaling is the medium that I use. And
Yes.
so I love to write, love, love, love to write. I have my favorite pen. It's
Mm-hmm.
pink, my favorite color. I have my favorite journals. I probably have two or three that are very similar to this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I have one that's just like an inspiration journal because Amanda and I were talking this morning, and when I get on a roll, like when we get on a roll, like all these ideas just like start flying out of our mouths. Like we have all these like wonderful ideas, but if you don't have someone that you can do that with on a regular basis, why not do it with your journal? Why
Yes.
not set aside an entire journal just for inspiration and creativity?
Yeah.
You
For
don't have
play.
to do every single thing you write down, but it's just a way to like, you and I call it brain dump, Amanda. We have a
Yes.
whole thing on Facebook. It's a private group, just the two of us. And we
Mhm.
go in there and we brain dump to each other. But
Mhm.
you don't need a Facebook group. You don't need, 25, 30-minute conversation. You can do a brain dump on paper if you
Mhm.
love to type, which sometimes I'm in the mood to type more than I'm in the mood to write. But
Mhm.
I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and she said one that I've done with a client before, which is video journaling. Why not
Oh,
use technology, right?
I like that.
She's doing video journaling right now because she said her brain is faster than what her fingers could type or her hand could write. And I
Wow.
love that. And there's also, if you're an Apple iPhone user, there's a little voice recorder on there.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm running out of breath.
Right.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
You can, if you're out on your morning walk, oh, sorry, or whenever you take your walk, open up
Mhm.
that voice recorder thing on your phone, or even if you don't have an iPhone, I'm sure there's some app you can download for
Sure.
any kind of phone you have, and
Yeah.
just put your thoughts down. Get them
Yeah.
out of your head. Get them somewhere.
Yeah.
I
I
had
love that.
I had a client who she is probably your dream client. Like she just, if you gave her a challenge or if you
Mhm.
presented her with a new way to process information, she was all on it. And she loved to do Marco Polo with me.
Mhm.
And I told her, I said, you can Marco Polo with me. I might not respond to every single thing you say. I might
Yeah.
not have time to watch every single one, but
Mhm.
you feel like you're talking to me when you're on Marco Polo. Marco Polo is an app if you're not familiar, but and so she loved it. She felt
Mhm.
like she was talking to me, even though we only had 1 hour session once a week. She felt
Mhm.
like she was talking to me when she would put her thoughts into that Marco Polo. And
I
then
think
she
that's
had time
a
to
great idea.
process them between the next time that we were able to have a conversation. So you
Mhm.
don't have to pick just one way of journaling is my point.
Yeah. So you just gave me another idea that I hadn't planned on talking about, but there's also an app called Super Better. And this is actually related to one of the videos that I show in my public speaking class. And it talks about how you can improve your different types of resilience. So physical, social, emotional, and cognitive. And this is a way that you can, like on your phone, you can write down your reflections, your progress. You can set goals for yourself. You can set emotional goals, physical goals, mental goals. You can like add friends to it. You can talk to each other and journal your feelings if you're in a safe space.
That's pretty
So I
cool.
love, yeah, it's called Super Better, and I really love how you brought up technology as a way of journaling. Okay, another super fun one is from Sark. If any of you haven't heard of Sark, Sark is so colorful. Like
Fun.
look at the writing. It's like
Hmm.
everything is just play about this. Um, so I just opened up a page and it says imaginary friends or friends I wish I had. I wish I had a little pocket friend that could go everywhere with me. I would take out this miniature friend whenever I needed company. There would be lots of giggling and secret telling. The pocket friend would have a tiny voice. I wish I had pocket friendships. I wish I had smoked those miniature cigs and we'd stay up late all night long wearing velvet clothes and discussing literature and arguing.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Who would your pocket friend be if you had a pocket friend? Like what would your pocket friend look like? What would you talk to your pocket friend about? I mean, seriously, like some people are just so creative that
They
it
are
makes
very
you
creative.
think more creatively.
I have a journal here um, called the Better Life Journal.
Mm-hmm.
And this journal is dedicated specifically for things I want to manifest. And
Wow.
in that journal somewhere, I've had that journal for a long time. In that
Mm-hmm.
journal somewhere was the attributes of, I didn't call it soul sister, probably called it just bestie or something. But I
Mm-hmm.
had, just like your pocket friend, I had a list of all the things that I would want her to be. And
Oh.
I could imagine scenarios like just different things like, I manifested the house that Brian and I built. Like I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
realize I did it, but when The Secret came out and I first started doing vision boarding and all that,
Mm-hmm.
I shared it with my daughter Courtney, and years later she comes back to me and she goes, "Mom, that was on your vision board."
Wow.
It was crazy, the pool and everything. So having a manifesting journal,
Mhm.
I really highly believe that you don't need to like put every single thing in one kind of journal because
Yeah.
there's just days where, okay, here's another great example of a journal that I just started doing recently within probably the last 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
Legacy journal.
I
So
love
you're just writing down little stories so that you don't forget because you and I,
Mhm.
our moms are passed away. And
Mhm.
so there's still questions I wish that I could ask her and I
Yeah.
can't. And I'll
Yeah.
never know. That piece of information is gone now.
Mhm.
And I think, wow, wouldn't it be neat if I had this journal that was dedicated just solely to the legacy of our family, memories, that they can look back on, and they're happy things. They're not my angry journaling. they're not my dreams. They're just strictly like legacy journaling. And I love that kind of journaling.
And they have so many out there. Like I remember buying my dad one. He never filled it out, but it asked him like where he was born in his hometown and military service and like greatest childhood memory and like all these different prompts. So it can be
Hmm.
a great gift too.
Oh, for
So my
sure.
last one that I have to share with us is one that really goes back into our childhood, and it's called Shadow Work, Journal for Self-Love.
Mm.
So these are prompts that integrate your shadow and embrace your inner child. So I actually have this in front of me, and I'll just give you an example. So this one is one that I'm actually doing today in my small group, and it's called mirror work. Mirror work is a powerful practice in which you gaze at yourself in a mirror and literally in your face, look at your limiting beliefs, fears, and doubts. So you're going to sit or stand comfortably in close range to a mirror. You're going to look into your own eyes for 2 to 3 minutes. And as you do, repeat a compassionate affirmation. Motivational author Louise Hay encouraged saying, I love you. I love you. Or if that's too difficult, maybe I'm able to love myself in the future. As you repeat the affirmation, notice what thoughts and affirmations come up and allow yourself to feel whatever it is in that moment. So it's literally like a prompt that has you do a creative exercise by looking at yourself for 2 minutes and trying to write down what comes up in your
Wow.
body, in your emotions. And so we're doing this one tonight.
Love it. Love it. My
Yeah.
last journal type that I have on my list here is it's something that Brian and I have talked about for years because like 6 weeks after Brian and I started dating, we went on our very first vacation together. And my
Mhm.
friend Heather, which she probably is listening, she said, he's going to chop your body up and throw the parts into the ocean. She goes, you do not know this man. You should not be going on a vacation with him.
Mhm.
But we love to sit and reminisce about different times that we've been on, different places we've been. And so I want to start a travel journal and I want to try to go back and see if the two of us can remember. And he wants me to like somehow organize the photos. And people don't do that anymore. He's kind of like old school, but I'm going to try to figure out how to do this all together where I can put down some of our memories, like where we stayed, what we did, like the highlights of the trip, what something funny that might have happened, and the photos to go with it. But I was thinking if somebody listening is like, I don't really like to travel, I kind of like I'm just like a homebody, or I just like to stay close to home, or I enjoy doing simple things like gardening or hiking or whatever. It could be an adventure journal. It doesn't have to be a travel journal. It could be like the highlights of my weekend this weekend were I was be able to go out to my garden and pick a beautiful bouquet of flowers, or we went hiking and I saw the most beautiful birds. And so it doesn't have to be about journaling, but it can be about experiences that are worth remembering down the road.
Yeah, I love that. And I also, you reminded me of like mindfulness journals where,
Mm,
if I go to like a garden, like Anderson Gardens in Rockford where I live,
beautiful. Oh,
beautiful, beautiful garden, and you just have pen and paper and you just write down what you're noticing with your senses. And
yeah,
it just really brings so much into awareness that we usually just, walk right by. And so
absolutely.
I think that's really the word. Journaling brings to our conscious things that are subconscious. So like
Yeah.
it's a practice in awareness And it's bringing things from like just living in a robotic life where you're actually getting to know your inner self and being intentional and reflective about your own experiences.
Yeah. Like an exercise that I had one of my clients do was take a different route to work. If you're
Mm,
having a hard time like noticing like little things and being, super aware of what's going, because we tend to get in the car and we're on autopilot, right?
yeah.
You were telling me this morning that you're really enjoying going to that new coffee shop.
Yes.
And so I said to her, take a different route. I don't even know if I mentioned stopping to get coffee, but at one point we did talk about her, taking her laptop and going and working in different environments to kind of spark creativity. But like even taking a different way to work and noticing a new restaurant that you might want to try, or seeing a friend on the sidewalk and waving, and just like little things like that can do absolutely what you just said, is just bring us back to ourselves. Like,
Yes.
stop being on autopilot. Be
Yes.
aware of the world around you so that you can find gratefulness in tiny things.
Yes. I could not have said it better. It's the opposite of autopilot. It's
Yeah.
awareness.
Hmm.
Become aware
Yeah,
and you will live a fuller life.
for sure. So let's talk about some tips for getting started.
Okay.
So this might be the hardest part for somebody.
Hmm.
So I kind of touched on it a little bit, because my value is like very much aesthetics. Like we talked about the clean house, like the manicured yard, the beautiful flowers, all that stuff. The journal and the pen are
Hmm.
huge for me.
Yeah.
I want to see this journal sitting on my desk or on the table beside the couch where I sit often, cuddle with my dog. Like I want to see it and think, oh, I can't wait to pick it up.
Yes. Yes. I've
Um,
actually purchased some journals from artists.
ooh,
And it's just so true. Like I would rather pick up a beautiful journal and a beautiful gel pen than pick up like a white pad of paper and start
absolutely.
writing.
And if
So
you are somebody that's really crafty and creative, like
mhm.
just get a plain one and decorate it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be like a little mini vision board on the front of your journal notebook.
Yeah. And
Um,
journals, and that's the thing is journals can be scribbles, they can be artwork, they can be collages, they can be words, they can be
everything.
any form of creativity that you choose to express yourself in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The second thing is to set aside specific time. So schedule a regular time each day to journal, whether it's morning or night, it doesn't really matter. It could be on your lunch break at work, just
Mhm.
as long as you set aside, give yourself, I don't know. I talked about this recently. I was invited to do a live Instagram little interview thing. And I was talking about a period of time in my life when I was going through a really rough spot and I was feeling very down a lot. My moods were very low for quite a while. And
Mhm.
I developed this thing I called my minimum required effort.
Okay.
I called it Marie, MRE. And you can't do Marie for a long time because then it becomes your normal. But if you have a minimum required effort, if you say to yourself, I'm going to start out with 10 minutes. I'm going to
Mhm.
say to myself, 10 minutes after coffee in the morning or 10 minutes before I go to bed at night or whatever it is. It's kind of
Mhm.
like people who want to read a book in a specific amount of time. They'll say, I'm going to read a chapter a day. I'm going to read 10 pages a day. Give
Mhm.
yourself an allotted time. And if you even have to set your timer on your phone or whatever, 10 minutes. And it
Mhm.
becomes a habit.
Mhm.
You got
Mhm.
to develop a habit.
Yeah.
Um, Number three is write freely. We talked about this a little bit during our talk today of, not censoring yourself so that
Yeah.
you're really truly taking full advantage of the benefit of journaling. Don't
Yeah.
censor yourself.
Yeah. And, sometimes you need to be really careful not to judge yourself for what you're writing too. Sometimes it reminds me, I have clients come in and they're like, well, I felt bad about what I said last week in session. And I said, so you're even judging yourself in your therapy session.
Oh gosh,
Like, I want you to come in here without any masking and any posturing. I want it all. I want it uncensored. And that's what a journal should be uncensored and raw.
for sure. Experiment with different styles. We talked about this a little bit too. The different types of journals you can do, whether they're guided,
Mhm.
whether they're specific like dream journals or adventure journals or creativity reflection.
childhood,
gratitude.
shadow work,
Yeah.
gratitude. Yeah. Yep.
So experience with those and find out the style that works best for you. We even talked about methodology or modality, I guess it would be, like whether it's typing or writing or voice or, recordings or videos, whichever.
Apps. Right.
Whatever gets you to do it.
Yeah.
They say the most effective, like if you're going to the gym and they say, what's the best exercise for me to do? The one that you're going to actually do that one.
Exactly.
And the last one, which is kind of like our wrap up a little bit today. Our gift to you is use prompts. And Amanda had some really great ones for us today. If you're not sure what to write about, use prompts. Use books that already have them. Amanda and I would love to gift you with some that we came up with. If you would love to receive a copy of that, just send us an email at www.day podcast@gmail.com and just put journal prompts in the subject line, and we will send you off some free journal prompts to get you started.
Yeah,
Amanda,
this is so fun.
Amanda, I want you to tell me, because you have admitted on the podcast, and I know this because, you're my soul sister and you tell me these things, but you have a hard time sticking to things. And what do you call it? Like sticking through it, or?
I call it consistently inconsistent.
There you go. So what advice would you give to somebody that has the same kind of personality as you, that would normally be consistently inconsistent? What advice would you give them about journaling?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that, because I was sitting here contemplating myself of like, how can I make this a habit? Because mine's, of course, is like, I'll pick it up, then I won't pick it up for 3 months. I was thinking about how cool it would be in one way to deepen our friendship, Terry, if I were to have it like an accountability person. And the purpose of my journal was not only to get out my emotions and know myself better, but also to deepen my friendship with you. So I was thinking, well, what if I did my journaling for 10 minutes and at the end of the day, I took a screenshot of it and sent it to you?
Oh, I love that. I love that idea. Yeah. Accountability is big. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, I would say try to connect it to your values. Try to find some way to connect journaling and the benefits of journaling to something that you value dearly. And, for me, personal growth is a very high value. So I know that journaling helps me with my personal growth. So therefore, I can, and, I was talking to my husband about this the other day. He comes in, he's been wanting to clean the garage, and he's like, I just have no motivation, honey. I have no motivation to go out there and clean that garage. It's like you, right? Like if it were me and Gary, just like looking at it would be like motivation enough. Like we just want it to be clean, so we're just going to do it. But it's not always about motivation. It's about discipline.
Yes.
So
I talk to clients about that all the time. One of my favorite quotes is, your life is made up of your habits, and your habits are made up of your ability to have discipline.
So there you go. So that's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our conversation today, as always. And remember, if you are enjoying the content of this show, please share the episode with a friend. Go out to your favorite podcast platform and rate and review the show. We appreciate that. It helps more women find the show. What would you like to leave with listeners with today, Amanda? I'll leave the last word for you today.
Well, my last words today are do more of what makes you feel alive.
Yes, I love it. All right. Until next time, everybody, please remember to take good care of you.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so glad to be here with you.
And just remember, we're here to serve. Reach out, connect with us on social media platforms, and dig in deeper.
Yes, all those links will be in the podcast show notes. So join us. We can't wait to continue the conversation with you over there. Until next time, everybody, take care.